Negan may have bashed Glenn over the head with Lucille, but which 10 episodes of The Walking Dead clobbered the fans over the head so much that they decided that they wanted no more? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. Today, we're going to look at Collider's list, 10 episodes that made fans quit on The Walking Dead. Now, a lot of fans say they gave up on the show around Season 7. That is when we seen the ratings begin to decline after the Season 7 premiere with Negan entering the show. Now, for us here on Fog Entertainment, with our schedule, we are just about to start watching and reviewing Season 7. That will be happening, I believe, on the first week of March. So since we're coming up to Season 7, and a lot of people say that Season 7 is when they checked out, we thought it would be a good time to go through this article and see what 10 episodes people had enough with.
March 5th, if you want your fix of The Walking Dead Season 7, that's when it begins.
He knows the days, he's up to date.
It's right there. But anyway, we'll get into these 10 episodes. And you know what? For me, it's rather a blocky episodes. It makes me quit a show rather than one-offs.
Aye, look, one episode can be bad. I can't imagine. How bad would an episode need to be for you to quit a show that you're actually enjoying?
No, that's true.
I think it would need to be like a woke thing, I think, or something that you just cannot get on board with.
Yeah, something that just ruins the previous 4 seasons.
Yes. We'll see if any of that's here. So, let's go in here. Let's see the order. Number 10, we have Slabtown. Season 5, Episode 4. I mean, look, we watched this. We didn't think it was a great episode. But, I mean, I certainly wouldn't quit the show because of it.
This episode was needed to establish the hospital group.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could argue it's... I mean, we see the first 3 seasons, it's dealing with Rick and the Hunters. I mean, you could argue this...
Episodes.
The first episodes of Season 5, first 3 of them, dealing with Rick's group and the Hunters. I mean, you could argue that this kind of goes cold, but, like, you're always going to have that. It's like Episode 3 of Season 3. I like it. It's a Woodbury special. But... the episode is different because you're getting introduced to a brand...
You know what? It's actually a really similar episode to that, to a point where it's introducing new people. But they just don't have the people to pull it off.
Yeah, but those episodes are always going to feel different.
Yep.
It's always going to feel a bit like it's separate from the actual main show, because the whole focus is going on a completely different group, a completely different location.
Episode 2 and 3. 2's on the Kingdom, 3's on the Saviours. It's about the people who make it work.
Yeah, and Slabtown just did not have this police station didn't have the actors that you had in Season 3. Now, of course, you're getting introduced to Woodbury, but you're also getting established characters such as Andrea and Merle, and then you're getting other good characters. Whereas, like, they introduce you to Michonne, who will go down as a main character, the Governor, a main character. I'm looking at Milton, and I'm looking at... not Caesar. What's his name? Or is it Caesar? This is number 2. Martinez. I would say, in terms of Season 3, they do feel like semi-main characters.
No, they do, but let's move on. We're talking shite here. Slabtown was alright.
I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, it's no reason to quit the show.
Right, episode number 9 is Season 8, Episode 16, the one where Rick spares Negan.
I wonder if this is going in order. If you know what I mean. Like, I wonder if Slabtown is the earliest in the timeline.
It'll be interesting to see. Look, we're not going to talk too much about this because we haven't seen it, but
I'm aware of it. I've seen the scene.
Yeah, look, for me, it's a bit dumb that after everything Negan's done, Rick lets him live. I can understand. People could be pissed off that Negan didn't get, the death that he deserved. So, I mean, I can see why.
I think not killing him and throwing him in a jail cell till he dies might have been the correct call for Rick, but it's like, Negan's it. You know what I mean? He's now out and about. It's just a bit dead, isn't it?
Yeah, if Rick and Negan ever cross paths again in these spin-offs, Rick cannot live with this guy. I don't see how he can.
But then you could argue too much. Like, Rick's been to the Commonwealth, or I don't know, not the Commonwealth, the CDC. No, what the fuck is it? CRM, that's it. It's like, the way the ones that live portrayed it is that they mentally, like, tortured Rick. He cut his hand off. It's almost like Negan's like a little blip in his life now.
True, but for me, Negan's the guy that's probably dealt Rick the most. The group. I mean, it was a traumatized. Well, we've never seen, in my eyes, Rick look as weak as he did in Season 7, Episode 1.
Yeah.
He may have cut his hand off in the ones who lived, but he was willing to cut his hands off in Season 7, Episode 1, To Save Coral. Right, number 8, you got Diverged, Season 10, Episode 21. I mean, I just can't think of anything worse at this point when you get into the later seasons.
This is one of the COVID episodes, and I think this is where they just literally did nothing.
Yeah, but I just can't think of anything much worse at this point when you get to the later seasons of The Walking Dead and they're going like 24 episodes. Jesus Christ.
See when you're 10 seasons into a show and you've got 2 characters that have been around from the first couple of episodes, they don't need a full episode to just talk.
No, they don't. So, yeah, maybe this could be the episode that makes us stop watching if we make it that far. I think that this answers your question, whether it's in order and it's not in order. Number 7, we've got Find Me, Season 10, Episode 18. Look, I'm going to be honest, from Season 9 onwards, I am kind of lost in terms of what happens with The Walking Dead.
See, the fact that Daryl finds a dog and calls it dog, that tells you all you need to know about The Walking Dead in the later seasons.
When The Walking Dead was on air, when The Walking Dead was currently running, I quit on Season 8, Episode 3. That's when I was like, right, I can't do it anymore. It was just shite. It was shite. And I'm not saying it was that episode that made me quit. It was just a accumulation, I think, of episodes where I thought, I just don't like
Season
this.
Season 7 was wank. Let's see what Season 8 does. Nothing.
Aye. So, look, but yeah, I'm not here. People say it picked up in later seasons. I'm not convinced, but we'll find out. We'll get there eventually. Number 6, Season 7, Episode 6. The one where it's Tara only. Alright, well, at least we know now which episode we really do not want to watch, and it is Swear. This is the Oceanside episode where Tara basically just gets introduced to a bunch of
females.
A bunch of lesbians. Aye, Oceanside. I don't. Why would Negan just kill all the men in this group, but then in the other group see, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Unless it wasn't him that done it, but I mean, all that shit gets back to Negan.
And we're not talking like 2 men. We're talking about like 50.
But that was Trevor that did that. He's the bad guy. Negan's actually alright. Aye, dead on. I'm not buying it.
Even if it was, Stephen Ogg, Trevor, whatever the fuck his name, Simon. He would never be number 2 after this if Negan totally disagreed with it.
Yeah, number 5, The Calm Before, Season 9, Episode 15. Look, what we're seeing is here, a lot of these episodes are later seasons.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
There's only been one episode so far that was before Season 7. And I think that's very telling.
Yeah, and they kill a lot of characters in this one.
A lot of jobbers, a lot of nobodies.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretend Tara's big, but just because someone's in 5 seasons of a show doesn't make them big.
Yeah, you got this person here's trying to strain to see whose head's on the pole, but I mean, doesn't matter. Just
yeah, it's like theoretically, it's like the Whisperers killed, I believe it was like 10 people.
Yeah, killing one decent person is more impactful than 10
but that's my point. It's like Negan killed Glenn Abraham. Everyone talks about that. This scene is like literally forgotten about.
People remember the governor more because he killed Herschel.
Yep.
And I tell you what, I think the governor needed that kill. Because see what foot that, you're like, who did the governor kill? Really? Bunch of prisoners. Right, number 4, what comes after Season 9, Episode 5. I mean, this is probably not because this one's a bad episode or whatnot. But I think we remember watched this and it was actually good. You had Rick and Herschel.
Shane.
I think Herschel died not long after. You had Rick and Shane. People, I think, would be more likely to stop watching this one just because, like, once Rick goes, they think the show's at an end.
And they're not really wrong.
Yeah, number 3, The Last Day on Earth, Season 6, Episode 16. Honestly, I'm not sure who quit on this. You can be disappointed that they left us on a cliffhanger, but I think that kept everyone around.
The ratings suggest that everyone came back.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Episode 7 premiere is the highest episode ever.
Second.
What's the highest?
No Sanctuary.
I'm not convinced.
I think it's definitely not the highest. I remember I did a vid and it's not.
I think it is.
No, you can think wrong. Anyway.
Number 2, How It's Gotta Be, Season 8, Episode 8, the one with Carl's unnecessary death, Carl just dying out of nowhere, a bit of a, I thought it was a strange one to be honest, Carl just to save some random guy. Sadiq.
I can't even remember him dying. Well, no, I remember him dying, but I can't remember if I got to this point. Because we quit around the same time, so.
Yeah, and then the number 1 reason The day will come when you won't be. Season 7, episode 1, the one where Glenn and Abraham die brutally. You know what though? I think after this you'd want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And for me, they dropped the ball with the second episode of season 7, where you don't get the aftermath, and to me it was just shit. See when you look at season 3, and obviously episode 3 is a Woodbury only episode, but like the first 2 episodes does a good job, right, of kind of setting up season 3 for Rick's group, and you see that they're beginning to make the prison their home, and it almost feels like they're a little bit settled. So therefore, see when episode 3 doesn't feature them, I think that's okay. But see here, you just see Glenn and Abraham get wiped out, and you need to see the aftermath of that. But instead, you have to wait until episode 4 to get that, and I think that's what was wrong. To me, I think the episodes 2 and episodes 3 probably should have happened an episode later. I think you needed to see Rick's group and Alexandra. I think you needed to see the fallout from what happened to Glenn and Abraham.
Numbers don't lie.
Or at least do a half and half episode.
People tuned out after this episode, so I don't disagree with it. Even though I wouldn't have tuned out after this episode, this made people tune out.
Yeah, numbers would suggest this is the one that probably...
Episode 16 is ridiculous, we didn't even know who he killed.
Yeah, I'd say this probably did lose the most viewers. See if we got the ratings out, and this is probably the biggest loss of ratings from one episode to another.
Oh, aye, yeah.
So aye.
Yeah, but I mean, The Walking Dead from this point to the later seasons lost like 15 million viewers. Like, that's fucking insane.
Honestly, I think the Walking Dead drop-off must be the biggest drop-off I think we've ever seen in television history among anything, whether it be like a TV series or like a sports or what. I've never seen a drop-off in this level.
Yeah, like, wrestling's bad, but wrestling didn't...
Wrestling declined over a space of decades, though, didn't it?
The Walking Dead went from...
A couple of seasons, literally lost over 10 million viewers.
Yeah, it's massive numbers, folks. Massive numbers.
You look at what they were doing from... you look at what The Walking Dead's doing, right? From the beginning of season 7 to the end of season 8.
Yeah.
Night
and day.
Decimate it.
Crazy. Anyway, that's it.
Right, that's it. Till next time. Peace. In fact, forget about the peace. Let us know what episode you guys tuned out on in the show. Was it one of these 10 or is it a different episode altogether? Because we're talking about which episodes made the fans quit. So I think it's important that we find out which episode made you quit. So let us know that.
Think of it though, right, before we end it, it's not really an episode. You know what happens? You stop watching, and then see when the next episode comes out, you just never get around to watching it. That's what it really... You don't go, oh fuck, I'm not watching that. It tends to be you just lose interest, and you don't watch it when it's on.
Yeah, like, here's how it worked for me, before we end, that's a good point. Here's how it worked for me, when The Walking Dead, like, when it first started, when I first caught up on it, I didn't start watching it until it was already on a break for the mid-season 2 finale. So I got to watch from season 1 to the mid-season 2 finale in a chunk. Caught up in about a couple of days, alright, so I was watching it a lot, it was good. And then after that, see when the episodes were coming out weekly, I would sit up and watch the episodes as soon as it came out, and then I would either rewatch the episodes straight away or I would rewatch it the next day. And sometimes in the space of that week, I would rewatch the episode more than twice. Sometimes maybe watch it 3 times, whatnot. Then, like, the longer it got on, I would either, like, watch it, like, as soon as it came out, or maybe wait it to the next day to watch it, and then maybe rewatched it again later in the week. But then, like, the longer it goes, it's like, instead of watching it as soon as it comes out, you're maybe watching it the following day, or you're maybe waiting a couple of days, and then you go from watching it, like, twice and rewatching it to only watching it the once before the next episode comes out. Do you agree? Or?
No, I totally agree, and that is the problem.
So you go from watching it straight away, then you go from maybe watching it the following day, you go from watching it multiple times to watching it only once, and then you go from a period where you didn't watch it 1 week, and then you're like, oh, I have 2 episodes to watch. Yeah. Is that not what happens?
That's what happens, yeah.
And then maybe you haven't watched it in 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, I've got a couple of episodes to catch up in before I can watch that one that was just released. And then before you know it, you maybe fall like 4 or 5, and then you just don't go back to it.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Obviously with us it's a bit different because we do YouTube now, so back then we didn't. But now we kind of just have to. But see the average person who doesn't do YouTube, which is a lot of people on the planet, that's what happens. That's why viewership goes down.
Yeah, it's probably like friends and relationships as well, because see, you think about it, like you're probably like hanging out all the time or constantly doing things. Then you maybe don't see it at the time, but there is probably signs there where you don't go out as much, or you begin to have like arguments and shit like that, or maybe like you go out every weekend, and then it maybe turns into maybe like once every other weekend or like once a month, and then you grow apart. And I think that's the same thing with TV series.
No, absolutely. And yeah, The Walking Dead. The end after 7-8 seasons, they could have condensed it into a great show.
Yeah, but they didn't. Anyway, guys, that's it. We're gonna condense this. We're gonna condense this video just under 16 minutes. Till next time, peace.